I want to congratulate you and We the World on the 20th anniversary of 11 days of global unity. Together, you, me, and we can create a better world and have fun doing it.
Welcome to the 11 Days of Global Unity Summit, celebrating the 20th anniversary of 11 Days of Global Unity. My name is Jana Larsen, and I am the Human Resources Director and a coordinator of the Economic Justice Campaign of We the World, as well as many other things for We the World. Today, on today's 11 Days Summit panel, I'm excited that we will hear from Thato Gabaitse and Subrata Banerjee, who will be talking about human rights. For the full 11 days schedule, you can register for free by going to 11daysofglobalunity.org. 11 is a numeral, 11daysofglobalunity.org. And you can see replays of the recordings. You can also make a contribution to support We the World by going to we.net. Thank you. Now, let me bring in my co host, Rick Ulfik. Rick Ulfik is the founder of We, the World at we.net, and the co creator of 11 Days of Global Unity. Welcome to the broadcast, Rick Ulfik.
Thank you, Jana, and thank you all so much for joining us. Welcome to the annual 11 Days of Global Unity Summit, featuring visionary leaders and activists working for people and the planet and a world that works for all. Our summit panels on each of the 11 summit themes range from unity to environment to human rights, freedom, and peace. I and we are deeply grateful that you are helping us to celebrate the 20th anniversary of 11 Days of Global Unity. Before we bring on our extraordinary speakers, I want to acknowledge some of our amazing partners who we support and collaborate with during 11 Days of Global Unity and all year round. The UN International Day of Peace NGO Committee, the UN Summit of the Future, the Unite for Peace Coalition, which includes Unity Earth, the Sign Network, One World, the Awakening World, We the World, Climate Week, the Deep and Rapid Transformation Convergence at Cathedral St. John the Divine, Pause the World in Times Square, and Pace e Bene, Nonviolence Campaign and March. What an amazing movement representing literally millions of people working to achieve global unity, all working with We the World and the We campaign at we.net. So let's have a roundtable discussion. Let's bring everybody in. And Jana?
Yes. Are we here? We all are. I am very happy to introduce our two guests today, Thato, also known as Ms. T, and Subrata. Ms. T has been with We the World for a long time. She was here when I joined in 2017, and she hasn't aged one darn bit. Well, well, never mind. And Subrata joined a few years ago, and he had this amazing resume, and we wondered, wow, how does he have time to volunteer with us? But he did, and he's still with us. So I welcome my fellow volunteers, Here we are doing all this work in our own countries, and we'll talk about that. Um, and we have to talk about why we volunteer with we, because when we bring in volunteers, they tend to stick around. So there must be something about us. And let's start with Ms. T, because she's been here the longest. Ms. T, tell us what you do with us.
Thank you, Jana. I've been with we like for the longest time, like you're saying, it's been more than 10 years, and I absolutely love it here because it encompasses a whole lot of human world issues, global issues, and for me, I felt a sense of purpose being fulfilled from the moment I joined. And I see a lot of growth and the impact that we've been making all around the world. And I'm filled with joy and pride to be part of the team. Thank you.
Oh, it is so nice to be able to work with you, and we really have grown with our weekend program. You were the only one there in Botswana, and then now we have so many people, and we're bringing in more. We're getting involved with lots of really good causes to bring awareness to what's going on in Africa. So it's just such a joy to know you, Ms. D. And Subrata, you are here from India. We already did another panel earlier with one of our guests and someone that you know well. And so tell us what's going on in India. And really, how do you have time to volunteer with us with all that you do? Oh, you're muted, Subrata. You have to unclick your microphone button because you're muted.
Oh,
There you go.
yeah.
Now we hear
Thank you
you.
so much. Thank you so much, Jana, for such a nice introduction about me, and also thanks to Mr. Reek for giving us detailed information about We the World and what we are doing. First of all, I would like to extend my sincere thanks to We the World and why I joined We the World, because We the World doing such a kind of work. The name itself says a lots of meaning, lots of significance. We, the world, because today's world is not divided into many parts, but the problems that we are facing globally, everyone facing a lots of problems, challenges, issues, and at the same time, we need to do certain kind of work collectively. When we are doing collective work, it is we. So no one can do this kind of work with I in isolation within this vast world territory. So in that respect, significance of this work of we, the world is very much important in this respect. That is the one thing. The second thing is that about India and about the overall situation of human rights across the world. Today's world, we find that there is a strong fight, there is a strong arguments uh, against for development, against destruction. We are talking about inequality, talking about equality against inequality. We are talking about gender equality, and we are against any kind of gender-based violence or violence against women. So we are throughout the world today, one of the most critical issues is that gender-based violence, violence against women, one of the most critical issues that we have been observing, experiencing worldwide. So this is the human rights issues everywhere. And the next thing I would like to highlight few of the instruments as well as laws that have been passed by Global Organization UN, so which is one of the most important critical pillars that we all need to observe in course of time while we are managing our governance, we are managing our social relations, we are managing our civil society organizations. Everything is described very nicely in this. And we, as we know, that international human rights law, which was adopted in 1945, immediately after the Second World War, and it was in 1948, it is also declared that we have to do this kind of things, and all the member states signed to this kind of declaration. And after that, in 1976, it was Universal Declaration of Human Rights adoption at General Assembly of UN, which expanded human rights issues not only on broad general issues, but they are specifically focusing on issues of children, issues of women, and issues of Aboriginal people, as issues of colored people, black people, issues of disability, and issues of other people who should be included in this fold. So human rights has become is a very, very big issue in today's world. And after that, in 1976, United Nations has adopted International Covenants on Economic and Social Cultural Rights. And after that, it has adopted International Covenant of Civil and Political Rights in 1976. These two covenants that adopted in 1976 is extremely important to understand for our complex situation of the world that we are experiencing today. So today's world, as we have been saying, that is a very, very complex one, and we are experiencing extreme level of human rights violation everywhere in many countries across more than 40 countries. We are experiencing this kind of and emergence of dictatorship and autocracy replacing gradually democracy in various ways, and election has not been performed well. There is a huge problems of conducting free and fair election everywhere. So this is a concern for all of us. If I am a citizen, I'm a citizen not only from India, but as a global
Yes.
citizen, I found it's extremely important that I, as an individual, I have every right to cast my vote and to cast my vote to a particular candidate, to a particular party, and the candidate should get that vote. And if it is there is some kind of problems, if there is certain kind of mismanagement within this kind of system of elections, and my registration of vote, my ideas of a candidate, ideology, anything is displaced by certain kind of evil force or certain kind of people who are not following any kind of democratic principles or democratic institutions. So this is a
Yes,
broad
yes,
violation
Subrata.
of human
And
rights.
you're really bringing up some good points about how it's happening all around the world, and it's scary. And I, having of course lived in a being born into a democratic society, had no idea that wow, I need to be worried about this. And we were talking about this last night, Rick, and or yesterday, and you said, well, you've always thought about this. So when you were forming 11 days of global unity, and I remember, Rick, you said that your group started out with like 19 themes, and then you had to bring it down to 11. And when you were thinking about human rights back then, last century, so I wondered if you could comment on how you brought that down to 11 themes, and what were you thinking of human rights back then? Was it as complicated when you were thinking about the broad subject of human rights as it appears to be today? Because now we've added, besides racial inequality, we've also been thinking a lot about the rights of people, the LGBTQ plus issues that I don't recall being something that was talked about much. I mean, of course, we've always had people who love differently or are loved differently or whatever the situation. That's always been there, but it's become more prominent in daily discussion. So,
Mhm.
be interested in your thoughts, Rick.
Oh, yeah. So, yes, it was something like 19 theme ideas. And we did that in 2011.
Oh,
um,
that's right. That's when 11 days of global unity. Yes, this is our
well,
20th
so,
year.
yeah, so we had 11 days starting in 2004, but in 2011, there were there was a convergence of things. 2011 was the 10th anniversary of the terrorist attacks on
That's right.
2001, which is one of the reasons why 11 Days started.
With
And
peace.
then
Yeah.
um, 1981 was the 30th year of the resolution at the UN starting the idea of the International Day of Peace. So the 10th anniversary and the 30th. And then we thought, let's do something special in 2011. And the launch partners, which included Monica Willard, as we were talking, we had a conference call, and she was just like thinking out loud, 11 days, 11 ways. And we
Yeah.
all got the idea, oh, maybe we can have 11 ways to take action regarding the 11 days, 11 ways. So, and then we started thinking about the themes, and there were all kinds of things, and we had to negotiate it. And this was it didn't just come out of my mind. It came out from all the major launch partners like United Religions Initiative, Pathways to Peace, and others.
Oh, when you started in 1998 and you were coming up with this idea of we the world,
Of We the World, yeah.
so were you thinking there? Were you thinking I see where we will have themes, or were you? I mean,
Yes, there were, but it wasn't organized in that way. Like I said, it wasn't until 2011 that we kind of formalized themes. There were important things going on, and we would highlight those things.
an
Uh,
environment I think is what first really inspired you to think about we the world, and
that's in 1998. I went to a lecture that uh, um, it was like there was an opening act for Jane Goodall. The opening act was a guy named Richard Leakey, who had just written a book called the Sixth Mass Mass Extinction, the Sixth Mass Extinction of Species, and he was talking about that. And then the main speaker was Dr. Jane Goodall, and I I had started um, We the World with the concept of bringing people and organizations together to be able to with more effectiveness address all kinds of major problems like environmental problems. Um, but anyway, after Jane Goodall spoke at this event, I stood online and I waited an hour to, and I had bought her book, and I waited an hour and asked if she could autograph her book. And so while she was doing that, I said, and by the way, I have a new organization called We the World. I think you might be interested in knowing about it. And she was very gracious, and she said, well, contact the Jane Goodall Institute, and maybe, we'll go from there. And I did. And it
the
took
rest
four
is
months.
history.
Well, it took me 4 months to set up a meeting, but I did. And I had a meeting uh, over the phone with Jane Goodall, and as a result of that, she joined the advisory board, and that's how it all started with her. And
So
and
you
now she's celebrating with us the
right.
20th anniversary of
Yeah, she's such
11 days of global
she
unity.
looks amazing, and she's 90 years old. So obviously you have some charisma, Rick. And
Or guts.
yeah, guts and charisma. So Ms. T, uh, back in before 2017, which was a while ago, you were just a young thing, right? You were like in kindergarten or
I
something
think
like that.
she still is a young thing.
Yeah, so she was in kindergarten and you just decided you wanted to start a movement, I guess, and you found out about We the World when you were in kindergarten and decided to
A little bit later
join.
than that, though.
What? Well, all right. So maybe that's not the exact story. How did you come to find out about We the World and decide, yes, I would love to volunteer with We the World?
Thank you, Jana. I was listening to Rick and thinking the time when they had their first meeting, I was in kindergarten. So thank you for repeating that.
You really
Um,
were.
Interesting. Interesting.
and just being wowed at how things purpose divinity falls into place. I don't even think Rick at that time knew that there was going to be a young girl from Botswana going to be part of the team in some years to come. But for me, I'd always been, I love community service. I love working with people. And I think also having the privilege of, growing up in the city, when I go back home over the holidays for the villages, there was so many gaps, and seeing how people have don't and are disempowered. And I thought, what way can I pour my energy and just try and look for a way to continue bridging that gap? This is post high school, and I'm now looking at making something formal or being part of a better network so that I can also learn. That was one of my priorities. Then to share and also to learn and contribute meaningfully. Then I was looking through the internet, and it's just one of those stories. People asked me if I was specifically looking for We the World, and then I was like, I can't even remember the exact story, but it all fell into place, and then I was welcomed with so much love. Then when we tried to implement some of the events, I don't know if you remember, Rick, we tried to organize a walk, Earth Day walk. There
I
was
remember that. Yes.
then we didn't have a lot of campaigns around environment, and I think being raised by an environmentalist and coming from a family that is into farming, because that's the only way how we can get money. That's our part of our culture as well. We are subsistence farmers. Then
And
looking
you
at
were doing organic farming, as I recall, right?
Yes, we're doing organic farming because I believe that in as much as the earth is feeding us, we also need to nurture it and give back so that we can maintain that balance. Then that's how we got to register the Botswana chapter, with which then grew and inspired so many other amazing people doing community work across Africa to join the We Can Change network. And we've been growing so much, and I'm so proud to be part of that team. When Subrata was talking about how the UN is prescribing human rights, these are some things that you think would be innate, like it's human nature to treat people right, to treat Mother Earth and appreciate her as much as you would appreciate yourself. But with time and growing and getting to engage with more and more people, and then I'll reflect back to a book I read by Marianne Williamson, Return to Love, where she talks about how human beings, we keep on getting the same experiences so that we can get a lesson out of it. And in the past couple of years, and this is one of the conversations that I have with Purpose Earth mentor Lawrence Singer, that the more these things are happening, it's like there's an awakening of consciousness, and it's calling us out, change makers like myself, like you, Jana, like you, Rick, like you, Subrata, to to rise up and come together so that we can create that ripple effect that will eventually heal the earth, and at the end where we envision to see the world to be a peaceful place, with all people's humans rights being met, and having an economy that serves the people mostly.
Yes, that's so beautifully said, Ms. T. You're very eloquent and you have such a pleasant way of speaking. So this working with We the World, volunteering, and you have so many followers. This is a place for you to put your passion into and to feel like you're doing something which is so crucial to people who just feel like they have to be a part of something that's good, that's hopeful. And it's just so neat that we can all be together all over the world the way we are. And you know arranging meetings and broadcasts gets a little hard, like, all right, Miss T is so many and Subrata, that's, oh wait, that's really like we can't do it then. And then getting it all over the place. But I feel like I should have a bunch of world clocks behind me, in my office, so that I can go, all right, I know what Tustine is doing right now or whatever. And I still mess up really badly, but I go the wrong direction. That's when I'm really tired. I know that I have to like maybe stop. So anyway, um, I remember my story of how I found out about We the World, and again, it was one of those things that I wasn't looking. Well, I had the mindset that I wanted to start a movement. I don't know. I hadn't gotten beyond that. Like, I don't even know how to start a movement, but I just thought I really want to be a part of something, and I happened to be just like looking through the internet, and there was Rick giving a presentation for 11 days of global unity, and I don't remember what he said, but I just knew it was what I wanted to join, and I right there, oh, I'm gonna join. And yeah, so I mean that's charisma, because I don't remember. I don't really. It wasn't what he said. It was just something that spoke to me, and so I joined. And what I really liked about it, I mean, whether there are 11 themes or 19 themes, I liked that there was more than one theme, because just like I couldn't figure out what to major in college when I was that age, I can't figure out one passion to put, you know, to jump into and just dedicate myself to, so this way I can be involved with all of them. So Rick, what a great thing you started. And Subrata, were you just cruising on the internet and you saw Rick talking and you decided, that's it, I'm going to join in, I'm so busy saving the world, but I found another way to save the world? Is that how it happened for you? How did
Yes,
you find us? How did you know you wanted
actually,
to volunteer?
uh, the thing is that since my childhood days, that I have been very much passionate about doing something that will contribute to the society. And it will, since my childhood days, I also had the experience that how people suffer due to violence, due to poverty, due to uh, m- problems regarding education, healthcare, lots of other issues. So I thought that lots of my college university friends, when they're jumping and competing with each other for doing some kind of a white collar job, so I decided that I have to do certain kind of job that will bring certain kind of changes in society. So I have been doing lots of work with even missions, civil society organizations, universities, governments. So when I found actually when I was searching at the time that I need to do certain kind of work voluntarily, that will give me lots of scope to share my ideas, thoughts, and at the same time, it will help to raise some kind of voice against those people who will not support. that human rights who are not supporting social inclusion, who are not supporting well-being of the people. And I am thinking that we should work together and we should work for each and everybody of the world. So my idea is not that I'll be doing only certain kind of people, and I am doing this kind of work for each and everyone. So in that respect, when I was thinking that how can I find a certain kind of platform that in which we can have lots of people of different countries, different cultures, different ideas and thought and collaborate with each other, share my thinking, share my ideas, and how to bring about certain kind of transformative change in society. Because changes are there every day. For some people are doing, but transformative change is extremely important, and it could be done only through collective will, collective effort, and collective vision. So we the world, I think, given this all this kind of collective vision, collective work, and collective well-being for all the peoples of the world. So we are voicing not only concern of the African people, Asia or Latin America, but we are voicing concern. We are raising our voice in favor of those people around the world who are really suffering at their end, in their community, in the village, in the cities, and in their other family members. So, given that context, I thought that We the World is one of the most important organization that I should join. So, before sending my message to Jana, so I just searching through all the information at We the World, I only found that there is one video with the world. It's a introductory video, and it's really inspiring for me that I have discussed as shared my experience in the very first day of my interaction with Jana 2 years back. So I also told her that this is very important moment for me to do this kind of work for all of you together. So when I found this kind of organization, when I found that my mission, my vision, my ideas of the world are identical with the mission, vision of with the world. So I have decided that I have to do certain kind of work contributing to this mission. So I sent a message to Jana. After some days, I got a reply, and we had a meeting. Today, two times we had a meeting. Then we had a meeting with Angela also one day. So gradually, I have been involving step by step in lots of other program areas. So in this way, I think it is one of the very fruitful moment and fruitful area of work that I have been doing, for which I have been also able to contribute to the global voice, strengthening the global voice for the humanity and human rights for all.
And we're so grateful. We are just so grateful. Rick, aren't you just amazed at this baby that you created? this big this big project, and to be able to attract such amazing people from around the world. So what is that charisma gene that you've got there, because it's
I don't
working.
think of it that way, but thank you. I appreciate that. But for me, I'm just committed, just like all of us. But what you were just saying, Subrata, you know, and Angelina as well. You are, you know, I think we and Jana, we're all kind of on this mission together because we realize it's not necessarily certain that we're going to have a good outcome for humanity and the rest of the planet. I mean, you know, there's a lot of stuff going on now, even with nuclear weapons threats, right? What's happening in Ukraine? If Putin decides to, if Ukraine is um, too strong and doesn't want to let go of its ambitions, uh, Putin might use a tactical nuclear weapon to make
that we don't
sure
even
that
want to think about. Yeah, I
and
know
then
it's
that could be the end
right
of the
there.
story within a few months. I mean,
It's The
So,
thing,
I
the
mean, I don't want to be a doomsayer,
no, but we
but the
have to be
point is,
realistic.
our work is important in all of these areas.
And it's important to keep hope alive, not only for ourselves, to keep
Mhm.
on going and doing the work that we do, but because having the the instinct, the drive, the passion, the whatever you call it, that says I must do something, I must do what I can, is a very positive human trait. And there are many human beings on the planet that share this strong thought that we must do something, and if we can all come together, and even if we can only do one thing to try and make it better, then we have succeeded, because it's always important to try and to keep trying and to keep trying and to connect, um, in a good positive way, at the same time that we have to be aware. So, um, but the goal is to end our conversation with on a positive note, and to be grateful for what we do have, because we do have a lot. And yes, there's much tragedy. There's much to be upset and sad about. But there's also much that we can do when we gather together. And so that's the beauty of We the World, and that's the beauty of our volunteers, um, and to focus on all the themes of global unity as we are. And that's why this event is important, to show that there are people out there who care. Um, so, Rick, do you have anything that you would like to say,
No,
or
but I mean, I just, since we're kind of
winding
inspired by
down?
and motivated to talk about human rights, just to realize that all of these areas that we're interested in, like the 11 themes, including environment and women, and, all of these themes are actually affected by consideration of human human rights, right?
Yes.
So that's
It's all
why,
related. They all overlap and come together, but they can
yeah,
stand on their own too, as a concern.
right. And I don't know if, Angelina, if you want to comment on that, because I know your work in many different areas also affects uh, consider considerations
Yes,
of
do you have a
human rights.
closing comment you'd like to make, Miss T and Subrata, and then we'll uh, close out because it's late where you guys are.
Yeah.
Thank you. I think for me earlier on, when we were talking about doomsday, sometimes it can get really overwhelming, and
Mm.
discouraging, looking at all the bad stuff that is happening around the world, and you can sometimes feel like you're not making much impact. And I think my last words, and one thing that I always encourage my colleagues and other fellow people that I work with, in the different areas, environment, human rights, women empowerment, because they all interconnect, and there's no way how you can separate the two, the multiple facets of it, is that we should learn to be gracious unto ourselves as well, and learn to nurture ourselves, because in as much as we are doing this amazing work, we also need that compassion, that understanding first from ourselves, and also having this kind of community helps to grow you, and you can kind of like break down if you need to. Having that safe space is just really amazing. Thank you.
So important, Miss T. So important. And yeah, there's pressure on you of a sort, to be a leader to your followers. I call them your followers and the people that you work with, your colleagues, because you do have to stand strong and say, you know, be the motivator, have your own charisma, right?
Yes.
And Subrata, what words of wisdom would you like to leave us with here?
Yes, taking the cue from the discussion from Mr. Rick and Angelina, I would say the same thing that what we are doing since the very beginning on the platform of We the World, each and every part of the things, each and every part of the programs, projects, activities, all are directly integrated, linked with human rights issues. Each and everything is human rights issues. So when we are doing all these together, I think our collective voice will be heard to those people who are in a position, who are very much powerful, who are in a position to change their system, to change their decision, to change their views of the world, so that we all together will be on the same platform for the development of the mankind and for the great prosperity of the humanity at large. So thank you so much.
Oh, thank you, Subrata. It's such an honor to know you both and our other volunteers and to work with you. It's so meaningful to me. And so, Rick, should I take us out now, or yes? Okay, all right. Well, this has really been a wonderful conversation, and I'm glad we were able to do it this way because, after all, we're volunteers, and it's kind of nice to hear, a different way about what we do. And I think it's important to our organization that we care about our volunteers and want to know what they think and what makes them want to keep coming back. So, thank you so much for everything you are doing for the world. This has really been amazing. And thank all of you for watching and being a part of the 20th anniversary of 11 Days of Global Unity. Please go to we.net to get involved and even make a contribution if you want. Rick, take us out.
Thank you, thank you. And yes, I agree. This has been really inspiring to talk and see you all. It's been very inspiring for me, and I think it is for everybody watching this. Thank you all for being part of 11 Days of Global Unity, especially the 20th anniversary. And it's all about we, right? This is a W.
Yes.
And so let's go from a me society, the M, to a we society. And that's why we launched we.net. So together we can create a world that works for all. Thank you so much.